You know, this moment, you're talking to someone and something lights up. He's magnetic, present in a way that feels real. He sees you, or at least it feels that way. The conversation goes deep pretty fast. There is an urgency to it, an intensity, and something in you says, this is it. This is what real feels like. Then there's another kind of man. He's interested, but not overwhelming. He asks questions, but doesn't consume all the air. Consistent, unhurried. And something in you thinks, he's nice, but I don't feel it. So you move toward the first one. Most of us do. I want to tell you what's actually happening in your nervous system in that particular moment. Because it's not chemistry, it's actually recognition. Your nervous system is not detecting love, it's detecting a familiar pattern and calling it home. When you grow up with inconsistency, a parent who was sometimes warm and sometimes withdrawn, sometimes present and sometimes not, your nervous system does something intelligent. It learns to read activation as connection. And the uncertainty keeps you alert. The intensity keeps you focused. The push and pull produces a biochemical response, dopamine, cortisol, that feels almost identical to falling in love. And your nervous system files it as this is what real connection feels like. So when someone steady arrives, someone who doesn't produce that activation, your system just doesn't recognize it, because calm doesn't register as safe. It registers as absence. Consistency doesn't feel like depth. It feels like just flatness. And you walk away from the one who would actually stay. Not because you're broken, because you're running an inherited template. In Chinese medicine, the heart holds the so-called Shen, your spirit, your clarity, your capacity to be truly present with another person. The kidney, on the other hand, holds your deepest reserves, your ancestral essence, what was passed to you before you were even born. When these two are in harmony, when they are communicating the way classical texts describe, you can feel the difference between real connection and activated pattern. You can sit with someone calm and feel it as nourishing rather than empty. You can recognize steadiness as strength rather than absence. But when chronic intensity disrupts that axis, and it does disrupt it, the heart loses its ability to discern, and everything that activates feels like connection. Everything that doesn't activate feels like nothing. Here is the part I most want you to hear. This template often didn't start with you. Ask yourself honestly, did your mother choose a man who stayed curious about her, who was steady and unhurried and genuinely interested in who she was? Or did she choose intensity? And her mother, what was available to her? What did love look like in that household? For many women in the maternal line, steady men weren't modeled as desirable, or the women were so dysregulated themselves that calm felt threatening. So they chose what they recognized. and they passed that template forward. Not in words, but in the nervous system, in what activates you, in what feels like home. The connection that feels most exciting is often the least real. Not always, but often enough to pause. And before you write someone off as boring, for example, ask whether your nervous system has ever been taught what steady actually feels like. Ask whether the women before you had a template for being chosen slowly. That template can change, not through willpower, unfortunately, not through deciding differently, but through your nervous system learning slowly through experience that calm is safe. That the one who doesn't overwhelm you might be the one worth staying for. You are not doomed to repeat what was handed to you, but you do have to learn to recognize it first. Drop a comment and tell me, have you ever walked away from someone steady because it didn't feel like enough? I think you will find you are not alone. I'll see you in the next one.